You can charge it, please. So, good afternoon, YouTube. We actually have an official manager. 3 weeks to the day after sacking Unai Emery, we've actually got a manager. Mikel Arteta has officially been announced. It was kind of funny, actually, because Pep Guardiola at Man City actually tweeted out a quote from Guardiola, wishing him well, and basically saying that he's going to do well at Arsenal and blah, blah, blah. And then Arsenal had to hurry their announcement out. But it is official. Mikel Arteta is officially Arsenal manager. From what I gather, he's not going to be taking the team tomorrow, like I've said all week. I expected this announcement maybe yesterday, but then thinking about it logically, Arsenal tend to do things on a Friday, and it is a Friday, so they've announced it today. I'm going to read out what they've put on Arsenal.com. They said Mikel Arteta is joining as our new head coach. We're delighted to announce Arteta is joining the club as our head coach on Sunday. So he's not taken the team. And Freddie Ljungberg will be in charge of the game on Saturday, tomorrow. My preview for that game will be out later on this evening, so keep your eyes peeled for that. And goes on to list his appearances for Arsenal. 150. He started 131, 16 goals, 8 assists, won 2 FA Cups. Pass accuracy, 91.5 for anyone who cares about pass accuracy. Mikel Arteta then is quoted as saying, "This is a huge honour. Arsenal is one of the biggest clubs in the world. We need to be competing for top trophies in the game, and that has been made very clear in my decisions with Stan and Josh Kroenke and the senior people from the club. We all know there is a lot of work to be done to achieve that, but I am confident we'll do it. I'm realistic enough to know it won't happen overnight, but the current squad has plenty of talent, and there is a great pipeline of youngsters coming through the academy. His coaching staff, it goes on to say, will be announced as soon as possible." He's then quoted again, "My first task is to get to know the players better and get them playing in the kind of fast-flowing attacking football that Arsenal supporters around the world want to see." So he's saying all the right things. Josh Kroenke, speaking on behalf of the Arsenal board and from our owners, and from Kroenke Sport and Entertainment, said, "We're delighted to be bringing Mikel Arteta back to Arsenal. He knows the expectations of the fans around the world. He knows they are high, and we are confident that he can play a lead role in taking the club back to the levels we all demand. I also want to thank Freddie Ljungberg for skillfully guiding us through the last 3 weeks. He steps up at short notice and has helped us through this difficult period with professionalism." Josh then continues on and says, "Mikel was the outstanding candidate and showed a burning desire to get Arsenal back to winning ways." Rouse and Haley then spoke, and he said, "We have met several top-class candidates, but Mikel stood out in every way for every one of us. He was the perfect person for us. He understands Arsenal Football Club and what it means to fans around the world. We are looking forward. We're looking forward to getting him down to work and bringing the best out of our squad and getting our season back on track." Well, it definitely needs to get back on track, that's for sure. He then continues on and says, "I must pay tribute to Freddie Ljungberg for his hard work and leadership. Along with Per Mertesacker, they have done a vital job for us in difficult circumstances. Freddie and Per are important parts of Arsenal family and are deeply caring for this football club." It then just goes on to list the Arsenal managers from years gone by. So yeah, it is official. Mikel Arteta is officially Arsenal manager. He'll take charge of the team as of Sunday. So he's not going to be in charge for the game tomorrow, as expected. But it's called this appointment it's caused a split, and that was the one thing that one of the reasons why I didn't want him. Like, he's here now, so I've just got to deal with it. It's as simple as that. But anybody who's joined late, his backroom staff haven't been announced. Mom, it's not announced yet, mate. So yeah, it's going to be announced in due course. But I think he's getting a guy from Everton. I can't remember the guy's name. Steve Rowley is. I don't know. I don't know who his name is. But he was getting one of the guys from Everton from years ago. So yeah, it's caused a bit of a split, this, because if you go onto any social media sites and look at the polls and stuff like that, I know it's difficult to get an accurate representation because anyone can vote on a poll from any team. But I've seen a big split. A lot of people don't want him. I didn't, as you all know. A lot of people did want him, and a lot of people think that he is going to bring that Wenger ball type of football back to the Emirates. to me, it's just underwhelming. I'm not going to go on a mad one about it. I'm not going to sit and cry about it. He's here now, so I just got to accept it and move on. And hopefully, he proves me wrong. But at the same time, there's a lot of players in this football club. There's a lot of players that want out, apparently. There's a lot of players he needs to ship out. And if he comes in and he's got the cojones to do that, I mean, today, if you haven't seen the daily transfer update I put out earlier this morning, do go and check that out. There's talk about Xhaka, Ozil, both leaving the club. Xhaka to Hertha Berlin, Mesut Ozil to Fenerbahce. But I mean, them stories have been floating around for about 12 to 18 months. Every time there's a transfer window, Mesut Ozil's linked with Fenerbahce. But I just hope that when he comes in, which is Sunday, I'm just hoping that he can just toughen them up. And anyone who ain't good enough or he doesn't think is putting a shift in, he bins. Because for the last 3 managers, that ain't been the case. And that includes Freddie in that. You know, I rate Freddie for taking Ozil off the other day. But at the same time, he was still picking him. And I don't know what he was seeing in him to pick him. Granit Xhaka's been out for the last 2 games. It'd be interesting to see if he is going in January. Be interesting to see what players we can actually buy in January, if any at all. But we definitely need to buy players. We definitely need to get some of these players out because some of these players are just a complete waste of time and a complete joke. You know, I'm not going to sit here and name all the players that I don't want at the club because we already know who they are. But, you know, the general consensus of Arsenal fans is that there's certain players at this football club that are not fit to wear the shirt. Now, let's just hope and pray that Mikel Arteta is the guy to go, yeah, I don't want him, I don't want him, and I don't want him. Get rid. And let's hope that the club do actually back him. I see Arsene Wenger coming out the other day talking again with comments about Arsenal need to spend big. Well, you had your opportunity and you chose not to do that. So why are you talking now about it? I don't quite get that. Why didn't you spend big instead of just buying Petr Cech? You know, I don't understand that maybe the new regime have got new ideas. The fact that Raus and Haley is Spanish and we've employed 2 Spanish managers back to back. I don't know. Is it jobs for the boys? I don't know. What I will say is that he has sat under Pep Guardiola for the last few seasons. And a lot of people believe that that is going to be key to him moving forward at Arsenal and getting that Pep Wenger ball style of play back. I don't care whether we bring Wenger ball back. I just want to bring winning ball back. And I don't care if it's 1-0 to the Arsenal every week. Just start winning football matches. And to do that, we have got to chop and change a lot of these players because a lot of them shouldn't be starting games for Arsenal. And they do week in, week out, regardless of how crap they are. And, you know, going forward, where are we? I don't even know where we're on the table. I've switched off on the league standings that much. We're 9th, 10th, something like that. It's not acceptable. And we're not going to get top 4 this season. I think everyone's kind of accepted that. Let me read this out before it goes. Disappointed with the appointment, to be honest, but we have to get behind him no matter what. Afternoons, sr.m. Thank you for your donation, buddy. I'll come back to some comments and questions in a minute. I'm going to have to read that one as well. Arsenal will fail every manager, good or not, the board. I think you mean the board of crap. Is that what you're trying to say, Shay? Thank you for that, mate. But listen, the board have made their decision. The board have picked a guy that, in my opinion, is the cheap and cheerful option, the guy that they could probably dictate to a lot more, and he'd be more accepting of it. If they went for an Allegri, an Ancelotti, somebody of that mould, then he might say, well, hang on a minute, I want to do this. I want to have a hand in this player's, I want to pick a player. I want to do this. Every single manager should have a hand in that. And I think that when we look back at Unai Emery, and Unai Emery, there was the report that came out that said he wanted Thomas Partey, he wanted Zaha, and he wanted Harry Maguire. And the board went, no, we're buying you Pepe. Well, do the board want to run the team, or is the manager running the team? So for me, it's always been a case that when Arteta's linked, and I see some clever dick putting a tweet out from May 2018 about me where I said we've got to get behind Arteta if it's him. Well, listen, I'd take any single one of you in the chat over Arsene Wenger. That doesn't mean that 18 months later I want Arteta as manager now. I would have literally took myself as manager over Arsene Wenger. So, just because I put a tweet out 18 months ago saying we'll have to back Arteta doesn't mean I'm backing him right now. I back the team on match day. That's what I do. Always have done, even when Wenger was manager. I'm not happy that he's the manager, Arteta, but he's here, and hopefully he does do the job that is expected. And the job that's expected is to make us get back to winning way and start competing with Europe's elite, which is why we sold our soul and moved to the Emirates. But like I said, this has caused a massive, massive split. And that is one thing going forward that is going to be a massive issue if he don't get it right. Because a lot of people, it's kind of funny, a lot of people that want Arteta didn't want Emery. And a lot of people that wanted Emery don't want Arteta. Then you've got the people that are going, well, I'm going to back Arteta because I think he's going to bring Wenger ball back. And it's just like, no, I just look in, it's underwhelming. It's very underwhelming. Like I said, I'm not going to sit here and moan for half an hour about it. The guy's the manager now. But going forward, if the results don't pick up, then what? You know, and the results have to pick up because the results have to pick up for more than one reason. And the only way we pick the results up is by having a strong character, a strong manager. Is Arteta that guy? Well, that remains to be seen. The fact that he's never managed a football team is why I've got concerns over him. Freddie Ljungberg couldn't get a tune out of him. And Freddie Ljungberg was a more respected figure at Arsenal than Arteta ever was. So Freddie Ljungberg couldn't get a tune out of him. That makes me think going forward that maybe Arteta can't. But I don't know. I genuinely don't know where it's going to go. And I would have personally rather have somebody who's tried and tested, somebody who's got the credentials and got the experience of working with top draw players and awkward players. Let's be real. Some of these managers that are available have worked with Ronaldo. They've worked with other players that are top quality. They've worked with massive egos. I know that Arteta has, but he hasn't done it solely on his own. He's done it with one of the best managers in world football. So it is going to be a risk. It was always going to be a risk no matter who it was. But you never know. You never know. And let's hope that, like I said, that he proves me wrong. Anyway, I'm going to stop waffling. Over 1,000 people watching this live already. So do drive the likes up. I would appreciate that. I think there is a press conference due today. From what I gather, that's going to be around 3 o'clock. But I don't know whether that's going to be an unveiling of Arteta. I can't imagine it will be now. But they did put the press conference for the Everton game back. They postponed it from yesterday to today. So I'm not sure whether that's going to be a press conference for the game or whether that's going to be Arteta coming out and having a little say. I don't know. But I will be back later on today regardless, doing a preview for the Everton game. Michael, thank you for your donation, buddy. The divide is real. Imagine walking into that. Might be an honour, but it's a massive challenge for him if he don't start winning consistently. Well, this is the thing, mate, yeah? A lot of people want to do Emery out because the results were poor, right? And I got to the stage after the Palace game where I said, yeah, I don't want him anymore. Not good enough. He's out of his depth. Then Freddie took over. I didn't want him. Again, no experience, never managed a team before. And he was out of his depth. The one thing I'll praise Freddie for is the fact that he kept it real. Apart from one press conference where I thought he was talking absolute crap, he was absolutely spot on in what he was saying. The fact that he pulled off Mesut Ozil the other day, the fact that he come out and said that they need help. We need a lot more than what we've got with just me and Per Mertesacker, which I knew they were going to employ a new manager, and all the talk was leading towards Arteta. But these players are just a disgrace. Some of them, mate. You've got stories going around about Aubameyang wanting out. You've got stories about Lacazette, Granit Xhaka, Mesut Ozil. Well, listen. Pack your suitcases and all fuck off. It's as simple as that. Because let's be real, if you ain't doing the do's, which you ain't, you're all surplus to requirements. We want players at the club that want to play for the club and want to give everything for the club. And for the last maybe 10 to 12 months, I'd say 90% of this squad haven't done that. Is Arteta the man that can spin that round? That remains to be seen. Rich, thanks for your donation, mate. So gutted, crap appointment. Hope I'm wrong. Same, mate. I'm a little bit underwhelmed. I can't even lie. 4 to 5 of the squad can leave, says Al. I'd only keep 4 or 5 of them if I'm honest, mate. Josh Sheldon says sell them all. Exactly. Gareth says hope he gets rid of all the toxic players. Toxic, the key word of December. The key word. But no, you're right. Listen, a lot of them players are not good enough, and a lot of them players are a massive, massive pain in the backside in the dressing room. And when you see the stories coming out about Unai Emery and they're all mocking the way he says evening and stuff like that, listen, that's all well and good if you're sat on a stream like me or sat in the chat or sat online, cool. To actually do that to your coach's face or doing it in training loud enough so he can hear, that's a disgrace. That is an absolute disgrace. Yeah, and then players are paid employees. Let's not forget that. They should be going out there with professional pride and going out there to play for the fans. You've only got to have a look at that Man City game the other day. I dug Aubameyang out for walking around the pitch, and then the Aubameyang lovers all sat there and went, "Oh, but without him, we'd be bottom of the table." No, we wouldn't. Yes, statistically, take his goals out, we would, but we'd have another striker in his position. So how do you know we'd be bottom of the table? You don't. Does anyone tell you look like Chris Martin? Yes, quite a lot. I don't think I do. I'm better looking. Thank you, Taib, for your donation, mate, and I appreciate that, mate. Thank you. Arteta's red and white army. Well, let's hope we go marching on up the table because at the moment we're 10th in the league, I think. So it's not been great. It's not been a great season. And we've got a big December coming up. The games between now and the end, or between now and New Year's Day when we play Man United. We've got Everton away tomorrow, and they've picked up 4 points against Chelsea and Man United. So I had to think then Chelsea and Man United, and then they've got us, and they're resurgent under Duncan Ferguson. So that's not going to be an easy game. Then we've got Bournemouth. Well, that's not going to be easy. And then we've got Chelsea and United. Well, how many points does anyone expect us to get out of that? The way we're playing at the moment, it's not been great, has it? And now we've gone from Emery with his tactics and ideas to Freddie Ljungberg trying to do something completely different. So now ripping that up 3 weeks later to now going to Mikel Arteta coming in with fresh ideas. Some of these players, they couldn't care less. I genuinely believe that. There's maybe 7 to 8 players in that squad that I look at and I go, you ain't even bothered. You genuinely ain't bothered, because if you was, you'd try a lot harder. You've had the stories coming out that the players have said that they don't want Arteta. Well, that's all well and good. Well, we don't want you, half of you. So, why don't you just put a transfer request in and leave, and we'll get some players that do want to play, or we'll promote the youth. It's as simple as that, Some of these players are taking so much money in wages, and they don't back their performances and the wage with their performances. And, Mikel Arteta's got a massive job in his hands, which is why, like I said, I didn't want him. I wanted somebody who's been there and done it. It's all well and good sitting next to Pep Guardiola. That doesn't mean you're going to end up being great. But at the same time, yes, you might be great. But I wanted him to go away and do similar to what Frank Lampard done. If you want to manage a team, cool, go and manage a team. And if you're good and you do it and you smash it, come to us in a couple of years, 3 years down the line. To go from being Pep's number 2 straight into a club that's in turmoil and a mess on the pitch and off the pitch, I don't know. Listen, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. But at the same time, there's less of a risk if you bring in somebody who's been there at bigger clubs than Arsenal and got years of experience, because they would command the respect off of a lot of these players. Whereas I don't think Mikel Arteta is going to do that with some of these, which then means they're going to have to leave. And it's not going to be easy to getting some of these out the door. Thank you, Ashley, for your donation. Random One League, get relegated for 3 seasons, or we bring Wenger back for 5. You're a troll. You're on a wind-up, bruv, with that. I never want to get relegated, and I don't want Wenger back. So, you joker. But I do appreciate your donation, mate. Thank you for that. I don't know. Listen, I just want Arsenal to start winning again, mate. And it's just been a long 2019, isn't it? The back end of 2000 or back into last season, sorry, was just a joke. Then we went to Europa League final. We got slapped about in that one. And now we've sacked a manager because we thought that it was his fault. The players have then carried on downing tools for Freddie. And now we've got to hope that they don't down tools for a guy who's never managed before. It's going to be a tough ask. It's going to be a tough ask. But like I said, a lot of these players are the reason Emery got sacked. It's going to be very interesting as well to see all the positive pollies that are back in this one that didn't want to back Unai Emery as soon as he does drop the superstar, because that's the reason a lot of positive pollies turned into negative Nellies for Unai Emery. As soon as he was playing Ozil, oh, he's the greatest. Yes, let's keep Emery. As soon as he drops Ozil out the squad, oh, put him back in. He'll get us top 4. Well, he didn't, did he? And if anything, he's actually got worse. So if Mikel Arteta comes in and says, right, you're binned, mate, you ain't in the team, it's going to be very interesting to see if a lot of these people that have sat here preaching about Arteta still keep preaching about Arteta. We shall see. The whole attitude of the players is shocking, says Chris P. Afternoon to you, mate. Yeah, I agree. There's only a handful of players in that squad that have got the right attitudes. And one of them is Martinelli, who's been here, 6 months? That ain't good enough. That is not good enough. I prefer DTFC than Arsenal, says Highbury. Well, he's got more managerial experience than Arteta. Maybe we should have got him as manager. Where are your curtains? I'm actually back in England, and actually, when I get to 100k subscribers, I'm going to give them curtains away to a subscriber. The real ones will always know. So yeah, one of the real ones from day one or saying we'll get them curtains. Why not? Too inexperienced to handle the responsibility, but I hope he does well, says Iffy. Evening to you. Stop preaching your negative. Oh, we ain't reading that. We just block you. Don't come with that bullshit in my chat, you bellend. Benitez should have been appointed, says Yowie Jobby. Well, listen, that's a funny name. I would have took Rafa. I definitely would have took Rafa, mate. So yeah, I would have took him, but I'm not in charge. Listen, people can pin it on the Cronkies, people can pin it on the board, people can pin it on the players. Now it's down to Arteta. He's talked the talk, he's got the job, and we see what happens. If Arteta gets some of these players out, he will already have massively improved us. Underwhelming, yes, but could also be a masterstroke. Well, I do agree with that. Yeah, listen, at the end of the day, people know my thoughts. They know I don't want him here. But if he bins Mesut Ozil, Granit Xhaka, and we start winning, cool. I'll change my thought process. Until that happens, until I see that, then I'm always going to think, well, why is he here? But people get it twisted, right? Just because I don't want Mikel Arteta as manager, don't mean I'm not going to support my team on match day. And this is where people got it twisted under Arsene Wenger. I'll sit online and say what I want because guess what? It's my social media account. I tweet it and I'm responsible for the words that I tweet. As long as I don't keep it, as long as I keep it within the guidelines of the app that I'm using, yeah, then I can say whatever I like. When it comes to match day, even under Arsene Wenger, as soon as I put my ticket in that turnstile, everything gets left outside. You know, I walk in the ground and I back the team. Whether I rate Ozil, Xhaka or anybody else, as soon as I got in there, I used to back them. Yeah, whether Wenger was manager or Ozil was captain or whatever, I'd still back the team. I don't want Arteta as manager, but don't get it twisted. Match day, I'll be backing the team. Thank you to JM Patterson Jr. We can sell, but who do we replace them with? Our board moves slow and buys the wrong players 75% of the time. Well, this is the problem. There's too many cooks, mate. You know, you've got Josh and Stan. How involved they are, we don't know, but they always seem to be the ones coming out with the statements recently. You've then got Rouse and Haley and Vinay. You've got Russ, I call him Russ every time, Huss Farmy. And then you've got Edu. Then you've now got Arteta. It's like, how many people are in this situation to go and buy a player or get a player out? It should be Mikel Arteta, Unai Emery, or whoever else, Wenger, whoever, says, I want this player. That's the player I want. If you can't get him, I want him. And if I can't get him, I'll have him. Yeah, there's the list. Go and make it happen. If you can't get target number one, you move down the targets. Now it seems that because we've got this structure in place, which is the reason why Jose didn't want the job, by the way, there's too many people getting involved in buying the players. Like I said, Emery wanted Thomas Partey, Harry Maguire and Zaha, and the board went, no. Ceballos, that is yours, and you can have Pepe. Deal with it. So who does buy the players? Enjoy your holidays in England, bro. I bought some Stella buy some Stella in your honour. Time will tell with Arteta. Do you know what's funny, right? I'm actually sat here right now. When I was last here back in, I think it was, when was it? October, 31st of October. I bought a crate of Stella. And still half of it sat in the fridge. So yeah, I've got first time I've had a bit of Stella for a while. But thank you for that, Nuno, and I hope you and your family have a wicked Christmas, man. So yeah, Robin Fisher. Yeah, I'm going to send him a hoodie for Christmas. Bless him, the little snowflake. Fully triggered him. I'll send him a hoodie because he's so wound up about merchandise. Thank you, Michael, for your donation. Don't underestimate Everton. They are going to be super up for playing against us. After Leicester loss on pens, they'll come back from 2-0 down. Listen, Everton have had a little bit of a resurgence, mate. So that ain't going to be an easy game. And listen, the one thing I'll say here, right, is no doubt Iwobi will score the winning goal, and no doubt he'll turn into a prime Ronaldinho. And no doubt when his name's called out at Goodison, all of our fans will go, yay, Alex Iwobi, oh, Alex Iwobi. 4 years after cussing him week in, week out. Guarantee he gets a cheer off our fans. Yeah, the same fans that were ripping him to shreds on match days at the ground. I weren't, because I kind of rated him, and I used to get abuse for rating him. But I'll tell you one thing, he was the one player in our team that could carry the ball forward. Yes, he might not have done much after that, but at least he had a go, at least he tried, because a lot of them still ain't trying now, even after Alex Iwobi has gone. The captaincy curse has struck again with Aubameyang. That's just brought, thank you, Daniel, for that. Appreciate that from Australia, buddy. Listen, that's just brought me on to saying, Kels, is Aubameyang still going to be captain? Is Mikel Arteta going to come in and scrap this 5 captains crap, or is he going to come in and just continue with that? So I don't know. I think that we haven't really got a standout candidate to be a leader at this football club. There's nobody who jumps out at you and goes, oh yeah, he should be captain. It just ain't. There ain't that person at the club. So yeah, there we go. Apparently the press conference is called for 5 o'clock. So I will be doing a press conference reaction. I do have to go out at 6. Or I have to actually be somewhere at 6. So if it ain't bang on 5 o'clock, then I'll have to do it later because I'll need to go out. Lee, I'm not getting notifications, says Matthias. Well, listen, YouTube, listen to these streams, mate. So YouTube, sort your product out because a lot of people don't get them. Bellerin could be captain. No, definitely not, Fletch. Definitely not. Not for me, mate, anyway. You will beat Everton, says Mario Kart. Evening, mate, or afternoon as it is. Allegri, Rafa, Ancelotti is available and Arsenal sign up Arteta. We are doomed, says Bantot, Contot. Well, listen, that was my full process behind it. You've got some decent football managers out there that have proven, tried and tested. And I know a lot of people think Ancelotti's washed up, but Ancelotti's managed 5, 6 proper big football clubs. He's managed some massive names and he's won everywhere. But because he's lost at Napoli, everyone seems to think he's washed up. Well, not really. The same people that think that Jose Mourinho are washed up. Well, Toby Alderweireld's just signed a new contract today. And for the last 12 months, everyone's been saying he's going to leave. And he was running down into the last year of his contract, which he was, by the way. I think he had 6 months left on his deal. But today they've announced he signed a new contract. And why is that? Because Jose Mourinho is now the manager. And that is the clout that you get when you've got a manager of that quality and that caliber. They'll finish above us again. They'll probably get top 4 again. And a lot of people just thought, oh, well, it's Jose. He disrespected Arsenal is a reason not to have him as manager. Well, Jose also said he'd never go to Tottenham. And he went to Tottenham and their results have flipped just like that. So, listen, it swings and roundabouts. There was never going to be everybody happy in the fan base, put it that way. Some people would have wanted Jose, the same as I don't want Arteta. But let me tell you something now, the amount of people that are cussing me for saying I don't want Arteta are the same people that didn't want Jose. So it would have been interesting to see if they'd continued with their tirade of abuse about Jose if he was our manager. We are without a left back for Everton. We are. Apparently Mesut Ozil's a doubt after kicking his gloves the other day. Apparently he's done an injury, bless him. Thank you for that, by the way, mate. Appreciate that, Highbury. Both of our left backs are out. Kolasinac's out until the end of January, I think. And Tierney's out for 3 months. Holding for captain, please, says Chris. Right, listen, I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you for that. I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to be back a little bit later on. Like I said, the press conference is due to be at 5 o'clock. If it's not bang on 5 o'clock or they're longing it out, then I'm just going to have to do it later on. And I will be back tonight as well as normal with the preview for the game. But 1,300 odd people watching this live. Do stick a like on it. Do subscribe if you're new. And do check out my social medias as well, preferably Instagram and Facebook. I ain't too fussed about Twitter. But Instagram and Facebook links are in the description. So I'll be back later on. Welcome, Mikel Arteta. Let's hope you've got the cojones, mate, to sort these players out. Laters, peeps.